So it's Hogmanay 2017, and as is now customary, this is my review of 2017 and a brief look ahead to what's in store for us in 2018. I thought I would choose this year the theme of a time for everything. It's been an eventful year, and it's had highs and lows, so I just thought this was an appropriate sentiment for the year gone by. Of course, one of the most significant things in our family for the previous year was the arrival of Aria Buchan, our granddaughter, and she arrived on the 31st of December 2016, and that of course meant that most of our day-to-day was taken up attending her birthday party. Absolutely amazing to think that a whole year has passed since her arrival. This is the first photograph that I received of Aria. I think probably it was sent as a message from Philip on the occasion of her birth. Absolutely amazing. Spent the day last year on the 31st of December going in to see her for the first time in hospital. And as you can see here, proud parents and grandparents, of course, meeting her for the first time. Quite a remarkable experience. And there she is with her daddy and with Linda and also with Fiona. And look, here's Fiona taking her first selfie. That was to be the first of many. And here's the proud grandma and granda. And as you can see, Jim's actually displaying a sentiment on his t-shirt there, stating what an awesome granddad looks like. Very, very happy occasion. Here's also Richard with Aria too. And of course, once Aria came home, there were no complications, which we're very grateful for. We went to visit her at home maybe a day or so later. And as you can see, she's very contented and sleeping there. Of course, everybody is very contented. Very appropriate, this photograph, I thought, because you can see Aria there with her mum and dad, Philip and Laura, but standing under the sign in their living room, the Buchan family established in 2014. So here's 2 years later, they've added to their family. So their family has now grown beyond themselves too. Very happy memories. First photograph of Aria in her crot with her grumpy bear. Very, very contented and her eyes open, taking notice. Very cosy, tucked up in her seat in the car there. She gets out and about. Another one with Mary there. As you can see, she's a very contented baby. Of course, we had to introduce her to her great grandma and granda. Grandma was in hospital at the time, so as you can see, we used a FaceTime session in order to let them see the new baby from their home in Meikle Wortle. Grandma's in hospital at the Ugie Hospital at this time, and there's granda in visiting, and we've got the iPad there, and you can see that there was some fun and laughter. It was very nice for them to be able to use technology in order to see Aria for the first time. There's a photograph of Aria with Hunter on duty, and as you can see, he's keeping an eye on things, and she's very peacefully sleeping there at home in Meikle Wortle. There's our first shopping experience. Again, the photograph would have been sent through WhatsApp by Philip. And as you can see, she's not taking much notice of what's going on around there, but nonetheless, she is enjoying her time out. And bath time, of course, became a daily routine. And when we would visit in the evening, very often we would be seeing her having her bath. A few days after her birth, Philip and Laura took her up to Peterhead and were able to meet Granda face to face. As you can see, he's very proud to see her there. Of course, sadly, we're not really sure that she fully understood, that he fully understood who she was and the significance of this moment because of his Alzheimer's and dementia. In fact, he did ask once they had left the home, on this occasion, who was that was visiting. However, we did manage to get some really nice photographs, and he thoroughly enjoyed the few moments that they had together. And there's a good photograph of Granda with Laura, Philip, and Aria. They then went to see Grandma in the hospital, where she still was at that time, and a very proud moment for her to have her new great-grandchild on her lap there. Here's another selfie, Fiona again. This seemed to become quite a common theme throughout the year, Fiona taking a selfie with Aria alongside. Here's another photograph of Aria fast asleep, this time with Ash on duty. That's the other cat in the Buchan household at Meikle Wortle. The cats have really accepted her into the home, and I think she quite enjoys having them around too. Around this time, we did have an unexpected communication from Galashiels. Now, if you can see this is actually going all the way back to 1981 when we lived down in Galashiels. And if you can read carefully the writing on here, the date is 9/2/81. So February 1981, and it's a frosty night, you can see at the top. And then further down, you can see it says A.M. Duthie and J.M. Buchan signatures. Now that's my uncle, Andy Duthie. He's now gone home to the Lord, of course. And myself, we were working together. It says underneath, I only watch. That's Ken Windram, a friend from the Baptist Church down in Galashiels. But you can see here that this was all to do with the installation of a new kitchen in the church halls, which were recently opened in Galashiels. So we had written on the wall before we actually installed the final unit. But Andy told me that it was a customary thing for a joiner to do, to mark the wall, to signify who had done this, so that somebody in the future would find it. Now, apparently, they're in the process of replacing the kitchen units there and upgrading them all these years later. So when they'd taken the old units out, this was revealed, and somebody took a photograph and sent it on to me. So it was good to receive that and have the memories. Of course, life goes on up here, and here's us out for lunch on this occasion with Granda again. You can see he's really happy there, look. Always a bit of fun and laughter and joy when in his company. Well, there you go. Look, this is Didi with Aria, and as you can see, she christened my shirt. But who cares? It was just lovely to be there and to meet her again, as we often have done throughout the year. On the 19th of January, however, Aria's less than a month old, our good friend John Renton was taken home. A very sad time, because we've had very, very happy times, and of course John and Morag would customarily be attending here on Hogbenay. So rather sad that he was taken away, but he had a long illness, and it was his time to go. I was quite taken with this card that was on a posy of flowers that was laid on the grave the week of his committal. 10th of February, and there was a big moon, so I was out there in the garden taking photographs, and this is one of the photographs which I took of the moon that night. We often do night photography, and on this occasion it wasn't an aurora we were photographing, but the moon. Here's Aria. Her hair's coming along very nicely, as you can see. Well, it's not her hair, of course, it's Laura's hair. But quite a nice photograph, we thought, when we received that one. 2nd of March, there was an aurora, and you can see this photograph taken from Fife Park car park, just overlooking the point of origin in the bottom right-hand corner. Quite stunning to get a photograph like that in Kemney. Beautiful stars that night. and as you can see the aurora in the distance there. 17th of March, well, who's taking notice now? And there's Aria, look, she's looking very keen and happy, often visiting us at home, and we're seeing her at her house. This is a photograph taken at the Ruach in Kemhill Park. And another selfie, Fiona again. This time we're actually seeing the selfie from the camera, as opposed to me taking a photograph of Fiona taking a photograph of herself and Aria. Bright eyes, Aria, as you can see, and her hair's coming along nicely there as well. 27th of March, another aurora, a beautiful aurora this night, and you can see in this photograph not only the green of the aurora over Chapel of Geary, but you can see some red as well if you look just above the green. Quite a stunning night that was. We've been very fortunate this year to have seen the aurora borealis a number of times. Here's a little video that Laura sent us. We were quite impressed by this. It's one of the apps that you get on the iPhone, where you can add some extras to your video. This is what it does.
It's Friday, like it even matters, when you're a mom of a baby deer.
And as you can see there, Aria just was right on cue with her little laugh there. Really good to have these little moments to remember from Aria's first year. Time's moving on, April now, and we took the caravan to Peterhead and had a few nights up there. Absolutely beautiful weather. You can see the blue sky over Peterhead, no rain, which is not very unusual. But on this occasion we had a beautiful view. We were able to take Granda down to the caravan on this occasion, and he was able to see the caravan. He and Grandma were great caravanners, so he was always interested, but when I took him down that day, he didn't have very much to say about things, but he enjoyed seeing the view and getting out for a few minutes. But because of his developing Alzheimer's and so on, he wasn't really sure that he was really appreciating what it was all about. We had a relaxing time, and here you can see Mary at a very relaxed stage in the caravan, just enjoying the view and the sunshine and a cup of coffee. 4th of April, here's Aria, doing just fine, as you can see. She's always got a smile for us. A very lovely baby when we would see her. Now there's a question with this one, which baby is this? Well, of course, you might guess it's Aria again. Wonderful to have seen her develop throughout the year. Now in this photograph, taken from a very unusual angle, something's happening in this location. Now that's Nick Custard there, and me standing at the top of some scaffolding in the church, taking the photograph looking down the way. Some other views taken from that vantage point. Here's one of the big window with the cross underneath, and another one looking towards the back of the church. We were actually installing an extra microphone in the church, which hangs from the ceiling, which we needed to get a better audio balance for people that were watching the KKAA broadcast. So that's live broadcast of services, which we did throughout this year. So that's been another new development in 2017. 16th of April, Easter Sunday morning, and here we are with people around the cross in the garden at the church centre for a very short service before we have our bacon butty and so on, before going on to church for the full service. And another photograph of our little gem. There's Aria again with Laura, and you can see that on the 29th of April, look, she's about 4 months old, and she's developing a real character. Always got a smile for you. Here she is on the move. She's in her baby walker here, which she very quickly got used to, and was able to propel herself around the living room without any problem at all. Another photograph of her at Fiona and Richard's home, and as you can see, she's got that little cheeky look every time you see her. Now, as the year went on, we decided that we needed to do some project work, and here's an example of one of the projects we undertook up at Peterhead at Grandma and Granda's house. The fence that you can see here, the original fence, was actually falling down. The posts had actually broken, so we decided to replace the posts. And as you can see here, we've got the the slabs also being relaid to form a wee bit of a level patio. So that was a few Saturdays it took us to do that. 22nd of April, however, Granda had to go into hospital. He wasn't feeling too well, and his Alzheimer's was developing, but this was not so much his Alzheimer's, but there were some other ailments that were giving him a bit of trouble. So he ended up with a fairly extended stay in hospital. But in this photograph here, you can see Fiona with Granda playing a game, actually. They were playing the dots game, which is on the piece of paper in front of him there. It was great to see that even despite his memory problems, he could still engage with certain activities. And he could still recognise, of course, members of the family. And there's just a very happy moment with him just by his bedside in hospital. On the 28th of May, however, he was called home. After having a fairly debilitating stroke and a few days of unconsciousness, we witnessed him passing away by his bedside. He died with his family, close family around the bed, and a sad moment, but look at this photograph. I love this photograph. It certainly reminds me of his humour that he often displayed. And that cheeky look in his eye there, which I think we're seeing through Aria's eye. But just wonderful to see that photograph, which was taken down in Falkirk a number of years ago. 3rd of June, we had a family holiday up at Muir of Ord. So the Buchan family all set off up there with Linda, Richard, and Fiona, and also Philip, Laura, and for the very first time we had Aria on holiday with us. And there she is, look, with Laura, just her cheeky little self. I could show you some pictures here, of course, of the scenery that we saw up in Muir of Ord, but I think we're too preoccupied with Aria for that. We went to Inverness swimming pool, and here you go. Here's Aria and Philip. And Aria loves the water. She really enjoys it. Photograph of her in her bath. And then, of course, we actually went up for the funeral in Peterhead. And I think this photograph was taken after the funeral, Granda's funeral, when we went down to the house there and we saw Aria with Grandma. As you can see, again, a nice cheeky smile from Aria. Just lightens the moment. 16th of June, we had some holidays down in the Stirling area. Now, a significant photograph this, because remember John Renton had passed away. Well, the six of us, the three couples that you see here, would traditionally go away on cruises and various things, but on this occasion, of course, this is the first time that we'd gone away for a few days without John. There's Morag in the middle there, Linda and Alan. So we really had a good time, but of course it was a mixed emotion throughout that period because we were doing it for the first time without John. During the summer, of course, we had some nice time of sunshine, and on this occasion we're enjoying the patio and the shade there that's now been established. And you can see Grandma's able to get out with her Zimmer, but very difficult for her to do so, because getting out of the back door, which you can see just on the left-hand side of the picture there are about 6 steps that she has to negotiate, which makes it very difficult for her to get in and out. So we discussed the possibility of a new project, this time to build some decking that would be built at the level of our kitchen floor outside the back door. The intention was to raise the level up so that Grandma could actually get out and in under her own steam. She loves to sit outdoors in the sun when the weather's fine, and it's quite sheltered around the back of their home in Hope Street. So this is the project underway. This one looking from the house. You can see the patio area in the background there. And here's Grandma coming out for the first time to test the decking area. And as you can see, her outdoor seat has been placed on the patio there as well, so she can come out and sit. That really has been a blessing for her throughout the summer, I think. You can see we also added some steps to make it easier for her to get down, with assistance, of course, not completely on her own. KKAA project continued to progress, and here's some photographs taken at Littlewood Court, where you can see some of the residents there watching the live transmission of the service. And they really seem to be enjoying the possibility of going down every Sunday morning and watching the service virtually on TV whilst it's broadcast live from the church. And they sing along. You can see they've got their song sheets on their lap there, so they actually join in with the singing and also the prayers and so on. 8th of July 2017, well, this is a significant landmark for Mary and me. We celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary, and of course our family had arranged a surprise for us and took us out for a meal at the Marcliffe in Pitforrells, and they actually prepared this little tribute for us, not the family, but the hotel staff did when they understood that it was our 40th anniversary. Of course, this would not have been complete without Aria, and there she is, really coming along very well. Always happy to be in a photograph. So it was good to mark that occasion with our complete family, which was really nice. The decking project continues. Here's a photograph from 12th of July when it was almost finished, and you can see that we're getting to the point of painting all the woodwork there. So it's coming along very nicely, and that's Mary talking to Jimmy, Grandma's next door neighbour, who's been very good at keeping an eye on things throughout the year, putting out the buckets on bin day and stuff like that. He's been a good neighbour. So there's Mary just having a wee chat with him, whilst the project is continuing. And then, of course, we got to the very point where Grandma was able to test the steps. And here's her negotiating the steps and able to do so pretty much under her own steam. We wouldn't really want her to go on the steps without some supervision, of course, but at least that was that. Oh, another photograph of Aria. There she is in her playroom. Philip sent us this photograph. Really keen to see how bright-eyed she is. She's got a serious personality, always good for a laugh. However, things move on, and another one of our low moments was when on the 17th of July, James Mackay was taken home. Here's a photograph taken in 2011, I think, of James. He's in just with his back against the wall there, sitting next to his wife Mary, who's got the Union Jack hat on her head. So that was an occasion when we were playing the parcel game, and he and Mary were there. So a lot of fun memories of James Mackay, and really sad that he was taken away by cancer. At that point on the 17th of July. But happy memories too. 19th of July, off we went to Foyers Beach in Loch Ness. And as you can see here, we have a photograph of the beach area. We traditionally would go down to the Lake District and Keswick, and have been doing that for 28 years, believe it or not, and attending the Keswick Convention. However, on this time we decided we were going to go up to the north of Scotland and also get the chance to spend a little bit of time with Linda, who's now living in Inverness, of course, and enjoying her work up there. We have had to make a few trips up to Inverness this year because of Linda's health. But that's been good. But we just have to deal with health issues as they come along. 20th of July, we were down at Fort Augustus for a wee run around Loch Ness. This is looking back up the loch. And of course, whilst we were away, we were receiving the odd photograph of Aria through WhatsApp. So this is another really nice one that came in during the time we were on holiday. This is Foyer Falls with Linda and Mary. We had a wee walk down to the falls there, as you can see, falls in the background, and just rather nice to spend some time with Linda on that occasion. She didn't stay with us in the caravan this time, but she was able to come up for the day because Foyers is only about a 15-20 minute drive from Inverness. Anne came to visit Linda for a few days whilst we were on holiday there. And here's a picture of her on the right-hand side there, watching the boats going through the canal at Fort Augustus. As you can see, she was very taken up with this. She'd never seen this before. And it was amazing how much time we actually spent just watching the boats pass. And of course, the weather was amazing. So it was really pleasant to just spend some time doing that. We get back home on the 29th of July, and oops, what's happened to Mary's orchid? I think it was Philip that was left in charge, or maybe Fiona, I'm not quite sure which, but we were concerned, obviously, that maybe they had done a less good job of looking after the orchids. Well, actually, there was just a bit of fun there because we can all breathe again, because that's what the orchid actually looked like. That was another orchid that was, needing to some time and some caring love and attention. Of course, here's Aria, now taking interest not only in our bottle, but interested to get some substantial food. And here's her trying to get a bit of Philip's donut. And here's her getting a bit of Philip's donut. A real character. Always lovely to visit her and to see them all, and to see her coming along. She's always good for a laugh, and here's Philip swinging her around a bit. And as you can see, she's always got that laugh in her face and that glint in her eyes. Another project in August, this time at home. We've been given a garden centre voucher for some plants, but we really didn't have anywhere that we could put those plants, so we decided to build some plant pots, which you can see in the background here. And here's Richard and Fiona up giving a hand to fill the pots up with compost and so on. And you can see the first plant, the clematis, already in one of the boxes there. This is our memorial garden. The wee space in between the two plant pots there actually is the spot where we buried Linda's dog when she passed away earlier on this year. Abby was about 10 years old, I think, or 9 and a bit anyway, when she passed away. Really sad time. There was another visit for us up to Inverness on that occasion, to go with Linda to the vet, and then to bring Abby home here in order to bury her in the garden. So that was a sad moment. Very difficult, particularly for Linda. 17th of August, we were down in the Falkirk area, and you can see here a photograph of the Three Bridges, and a fairly historic time this. The new bridge you can see there is almost complete. There's no traffic passing it on this occasion, but you can see the bridge there and almost ready for traffic to start to flow. So I just thought that was a nice photograph to remember for this year. 20th of August, we had a wedding celebration. Now this was David Renton's wedding, son of John Renton, whom we talked about earlier, who had passed away. So it was a kind of a mixed emotion day again. Sad time with John not being there, because he probably would have married them had he still been available to do that. Here's the family photograph with David's children and Gillian and Tam's children as well, and Morag, of course. 8th of September, Grandma came to visit Kemney. And here's an opportunity for us when we were up at Meiklewartle, and as you can see, Aria's on her baby walker there, making her way around the living room, actually at great speed, which you can't really see in the photograph. She also test drove Grandma's mobility scooter, as you can see here. She was very curious to try this out and had a go. Later in September, a big special holiday for us. We had booked a special holiday to celebrate our 40th, but also Richard and Fiona came along too. And this is us at Aberdeen Airport getting ready to fly high to Vancouver. And then in Vancouver, you can see a photograph of Richard and Fiona with camera in hand there. As you can see, many photographs were taken during this holiday. From the hotel we stayed in for the first night, this is a picture about 6 a.m. in the morning when our ship, the Coral Princess, was coming into the port for our departure on that day. And this is our departure, setting sail under the Lions Bridge at Vancouver. Absolutely amazing scenery that we saw as we sailed up the Inner Passage. We took thousands of photographs, I have to say. This is Glacier Bay. You can see the glacier there with its emerald tinge. If you just look very carefully, it's not white as you might expect it to be. The emerald tinge is caused by the minerals that are encased in the glacier there. And here's a photograph of our cruising companions with the glacier in the background. This is the Mendenhall Glacier, which was featured on some TV programs before we actually went over. So again, nice to see this situation. And again, if you look at the glacier there, you'll see the emerald colour shining through the ice. And we did see a real bear. You can see one walking across the beach there. I took this from the observation tower because when we were sitting down at the lower area there, the bear was still in the bushes. But there he was walking along the beach, and quite tame it would seem. He's been around the park for quite a long time. We were also able to go whale hunting, and here's a picture of a whale, or at least a whale's tail. The significant thing about this picture is that you can see the markings on the whale's tail there. Well, apparently they're unique for every whale. It's a bit like a fingerprint, so they can actually tell which whale it is by looking at the markings on his fluke. We also went up the Yukon Pass by train. This is one of our excursions, and you can see here how beautiful the scenery was as we went up on that trip. And here you can see the rickety wooden bridge that we're crossing before going into a tunnel. And of course the actual railway is carved into the side of the mountain, as you can see. Of course, that trip took us into Canada. And here's us coming back over the border by bus into Alaska again. We were very lucky to see the aurora a few times when on holiday. This particular photograph was taken from the ship. So just balancing the camera on the top rail of the ship one evening. Really good fun trying to get the aurora that night. Stunning, stunning views. Of course, we also had a ship's escort on our way back south to Vancouver again. I have two dolphins in this picture, but in fact there were hundreds of them. It was quite amazing to see that. We then flew over to Canada to Calgary and drove north to Banff National Park. This photograph here is taken of Bow River at Banff. And as you can see, again, the green colour, the emerald colour in the river there, caused by the glaciated waters where all of these rivers come from. The glaciers are their origin. This is taken from the top of the Banff gondola. And again, you can see in the background there the beautiful scenery and, of course, the wonderful weather that we were blessed with. Canada was celebrating its 150th anniversary of independence. And as you can see in the background there, you can see the motif that we saw in various places as we moved around the country. This is Lake Louise, often referred to as the Emerald Lake, which we visited, one of the tourist sites. And again, you can see the colour of the water there, absolutely stunning to see that. It was a cloudy day then, so we didn't have so much sunshine, but it was very nice nonetheless. On another day, which was a bit more sunny, brighter, we went to Lake Moraine. Again, a similar lake, and again you can see the colour of the water there is absolutely amazing. The thing about this particular lake is that it's actually surrounded by 7 mountains. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful setting. I mean, we took loads of photographs, but there's not time to show all of those tonight. The aurora that we took at Lake Minnewanki. This was actually not far from Banff, but we went out one night about 10 o'clock in order to see the aurora because we thought there was a good chance it was going to be on. So we'd asked the tourist information people where's the best place to go, and they told us to go to Lake Minnewanki, which we did. And you can see here we were really blessed with an amazing show that night. The aurora went on for hours. It was quite stunning. And this photograph here was taken from the balcony on our condo in Canmore. And as you can see, I mean, we took about photographs for about an hour and a half at this location. Absolutely stunning. The following day, we went to the glacier fields in Jasper and were able to see the glaciers there. Remarkably, of course, these glaciers are eroding, that they're gradually reducing, and at the current rate, they reckon that they'll probably be completely gone in about 30 years. And Donald Trump thinks that climate change isn't happening. And there's a photograph, a selfie of us flying home to the UK. And of course, where do we come home to? We came home to see our beautiful granddaughter, Aria. So always nice to have our welcome home face, to see that smile. 7th of November, another photograph from Fife Park in Kemnay. This night we had a quite stunning display. There was a display that lasted about 10 minutes, I would say, and just happened to be lucky to be there at the time and pick up some photographs. I've actually got an animation of this photograph, or a number of photographs taken around this time. So amazing to see that again. Again, a big moment in Aria's life in the 8th of November. Have a look at this. There you go. Those were our first steps. So amazing for technology that can allow us to have that sort of thing recorded in the way we can. Here she is in December now, meeting Santa for the first time. You can see Santa on the wall there. Of course, if you press his nose, he plays a tune. So she was very taken with that. Beautiful sunset taken again in December. I think this was the night I was coming home from work from Inverurie. An absolutely beautiful night, so I took a panoramic view of the sunset with my camera. Many happy times this year to look back on. Some sad times as well, of course. But you can see here that here's Aria again. Look. Just looking at that toy that bounces up and down, but so many happy times. And here she is standing quite ably in the middle of the floor. And that's her with Linda, this time pressing the button on the on Santa's nose in order to hear the music. Of course, Santa came to Aria's house, and you can see her with some of her toys there. A very happy child. Very happy. And here's her in the car, one of the cars that she got as a Christmas present. Of course, that car can be pushed around the living room, which she thoroughly enjoys. And you can see her there with Daddy providing the propulsion. She came also to Grandma and Daddy's house, where you can see that Santa came there too, and left her some parcels in the sleigh that she's sitting in this photograph. So it's been a year of good memories, but also some sad events. I mean, throughout 2017, there have been highs and lows, whether they have to do with friends passing on, or the occurrence of illness or the confirmation of illness. But that was 3 people that were taken home to be with the Lord this year. James Mackay, John Renton, and Granda. And of course, we'll remember them very fondly, and we'll miss them greatly. So back to my theme for tonight, time for everything. And this is a scripture that I just wanted to leave on this occasion. You see, there are times for happiness, and there are sad moments too. But this scripture from Ecclesiastes kind of sums it all up. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, a time to build up. We've done all of these things to some extent during this year. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. I won't read the whole thing through, but that's the sentiment I think that we've had this year for sure. We've had good times, We have had some not so good times. We've had to deal with the prospect of progression of illness, and we don't really understand the reasons why and the timing for some things that happen. But the bottom line is that it's all part of God's plan. So for that reason, we look forward to 2018 now. And from the Buchan household, just want to wish all our friends, family, happiness and health for 2018, whatever comes forward, whatever we have to deal with. But also a generous portion of God's richest blessing, combined with His peace, which passes all understanding. So Happy New Year for 2018 from the Buchan household.